And Juju is a bigger baller than Caitlin Clark. I said it.
I said it. Yeah.
Former NFL MVP Cam Newton is never shy about sharing his opinions, and his latest take is shaking up the basketball world. On his 4th and 1 podcast, Newton made a bold claim, saying USC star Juju Watkins is a better athlete than WNBA sensation Caitlin Clark. Fans and analysts are already taking sides, turning this into a heated debate. Is Newton onto something, or is this just another hot take? The former Carolina Panthers quarterback and 2015 MVP has stirred controversy among Caitlin Clark's supporters, sparking backlash over his comments. Let's break it all down.
Younger and doing her thing at a USC versus Iowa. Why don't in you saying only reason because she's not being pushed like Caitlin is because she don't have an arch nemesis?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And Juju is a bigger baller than Caitlin Clark. I said it.
I said it. Yeah,
I said it. And it has nothing to do with black and the white, but the statistics say what everybody needs to be knowing.
Yeah.
To drive his point home, Cam Newton jumped into the March Madness conversation, weighing in on 2 of the biggest names in women's basketball: USC star Juju Watkins and WNBA Rookie of the Year Caitlin Clark. With the NCAA tournament in full swing and Watkins leading the USC Trojans into the Sweet 16, Newton made it clear where his loyalties lie. On the latest episode of his 4th and 1 podcast, he claimed Watkins' stellar sophomore season proves she's a bigger baller than Clark.
Is a better athlete than Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, she's a better basketball player.
That's not to say Caitlin Clark ain't good, because she's fucking phenomenal. She's been what the game has been missing, and I love that for her. But if I'm speaking facts, that's what the facts is. And some would say, I can hear it in the comments right now, ain't this the same person that said that WNBA or women's basketball is going to trump the MLB? Yes, and to my point is this. MLB.
Cam Newton's bold claim sparked immediate controversy, and it didn't take long for the basketball world to push back. One of the most notable responses came from Stephanie White, the Indiana Fever's new head coach. In a recent interview, White didn't hold back, directly addressing Newton's take and setting the record straight on the Watkins versus Clark debate.
Juju was allowed to come out in a draft. Fever they will regret that they took Caitlin Clark number 1. Caitlin is great. Yeah. He's not Juju. If they match up in a tournament, 1,000% Juju gonna pick her up full court.
You look at the way she's built, and you look at the way Caitlin Clark is built. I mean, she can take contact. She can play through contact. She has an adult body as a 18-year-old. She's super athletic.
First and foremost, Stephanie White praised Caitlin Clark for how she handles the pressure, especially from critics like Cam Newton. There's a reason she is who she is as a player, White stated. She's handled all of this with a level of grace and poise that most 23-year-olds wouldn't be able to. She's incredibly humble and understands the bigger picture.
The generational talent. She's a lifetime talent. She is once an athlete in women's basketball that we have never seen before. We have never seen anyone like Caitlin Clark, and we probably won't see anyone like her for the next decade. If you see someone like her in the next decade, I would be shocked. There's a narrative that's been pushed around, and I have all the respect in the world for Juju Watkins. There's a narrative being pushed around that Juju Watkins is the next Caitlin Clark. No, she's not. That's literally the definition of gender.
There's no question. Caitlin Clark isn't just an all-star player. She's the most famous women's basketball player in America and one of the biggest names in the sport, period. From the Indiana Fever's perspective, there's zero doubt about her skill and impact. But beyond that, the franchise sees her growing influence as something to protect and support. In today's world of social media and fan engagement, the Fever want to be a resource for Clark, helping her navigate the pressures that come with her rising stardom. But it's not just about the spotlight. There's also the competitive side. From a coaching standpoint, Stephanie White pointed out that with Clark leading the way, the Indiana Fever are now considered one of the top 4 teams to compete for the WNBA title this season.
lot of the strategy is just about, first and foremost, sending multiple bodies. It's everybody's bigger, faster, stronger in the W. So there's an adjustment period for every rookie coming in. It's going to be playing tendencies, trying to send her into analytically where her weaker areas on the floor are, make things difficult. But look, this is a really good young Indiana Fever team. They've got a lot of strong pieces around her. There is no substitute for experience. So where they're starting the season is going to look much different than where they will be at the end of.
Reflecting on past conversations about Caitlin Clark's impact, Stephanie White made it clear. Her stance hasn't changed. Caitlin's going to see all kinds of coverages and matchups, White explained. It's about working on efficiency, whether that's attacking at better angles, embracing contact, or improving her dribble and footwork cadences. We're also focusing on different finishes around the rim with grace. White emphasized that moving Clark off the ball more will help keep her fresh during games. But the challenge doesn't stop on offense. Defense is a key focus, too. As an opponent, you want to wear down a great offensive player by making them work on defense, White said. We'll push her to improve on that end while also being creative as a staff in how we utilize her and maximize her talents.
When you think about Caitlin Clark and a generational talent, and the sometimes overlooked Kelsey Mitchell, who has been like one of the hardest workers that I've ever seen.
Sometimes overlooked Kelsey Mitchell, just pausing it right there because I think those words might have been chosen intentionally given the free agent status of the player that the Fever just cored.
From the time I was covering her at Big Ten Network, watching her at Ohio State. And then Aaliyah Boston, who, prior to Caitlin Clark coming on the scene, was another generational talent and is, right? Like, so it's like you think about the pieces that we have and putting that all together. I hope
Without a doubt, Indiana was one of the fastest and most high-powered offenses in the league last season. Stephanie White emphasized that the team isn't looking to change that. They're looking to take it to the next level. We were tops in the league in pace and offense last year, White noted. Now, it's about building on that identity and pushing our offense even further.
Are not a year apart. Generations are not a year apart. Juju Watkins is a very good basketball player. Juju Watkins is going to be a great basketball player. Heck, she might be a great basketball player right now. She had a great freshman year. She is not Caitlin Clark. She does not have the cachet of Caitlin Clark. She does not draw the eyes that Caitlin Clark draws. This game against Ole Miss was being played in Paris in an 8,000-seat arena. If that arena had 2,500 people in it to see this game.
With Caitlin Clark running the show, her playmaking ability has already rewritten the record books, leading the league in assists and setting multiple records in both scoring and passing. But now, with more weapons around her, the Indiana Fever want to become even more versatile on offense. Teams are ready for our first and second actions, White explained. So we need to be patient enough to get to the third and fourth actions, where we can really take advantage. With this roster, we have the ability to score more efficiently off cuts, and that's an area we're looking to improve.
About the great point guards and post players that our game, not just our league, but our game has seen, they are going to go as the greatest. And I'm excited about the opportunity to work with them. I'm excited about the opportunity that we have to build from those starting points and build out, and for the longevity that those two could have in Indiana, in Indianapolis, and hanging banners in this building. All of those things are so exciting. The future's really bright, and I'm just glad to be a part of it.
As Stephanie White continued her breakdown, Cam Newton quickly jumped back in, clarifying that his statement wasn't meant to discredit Caitlin Clark's achievements, but rather to highlight the athletic edge he sees in Juju Watkins. Newton also pointed out that Watkins doesn't get the same media attention as Clark, suggesting that it's partly because she doesn't have a high-profile rival like Clark's well-known counterpart, Angel Reese.
Rivalries equate to what?
Ratings. Yeah.
Rivalries always equates to ratings.
Yeah.
There's more rivalries in men's sports. That's why the ratings are high. See, the thing about Juju, the thing about Paige is, it's not saying this is bad, but they're good girls.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark was a good girl. Angel Reese and Falaje Johnson, they've embraced.
Newton isn't wrong about Juju Watkins' resume. She's already surpassed Caitlin Clark's scoring totals from her first 2 NCAA seasons and, at this pace, could even challenge Clark's all-time NCAA scoring record. If Watkins leads USC on a deep tournament run, she could even secure National Player of the Year honors, adding another major milestone to her already impressive career.
Last year, really, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, it was at an all-time high. It stayed in the news, the media, and a lot of people are saying that it's not getting the rightful notoriety this year without a Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese. But we have some statistics and a video to show that people are still watching women's college basketball.
Push isn't the same without Caitlin Clark. I think the lesson you can learn here is if the people are still watching, you can't make somebody another Caitlin Clark, but you kind of can. Like, Caitlin Clark doesn't happen entirely organically. There's a push. I don't feel like the Paige Beckers or Juju push was anything close to the same. What Angel Reese did, she created what people truly need, which is a rivalry. Having the players is one thing. She made a rivalry where there was.
Here's where things get tricky. Caitlin Clark's rise at Iowa was a once-in-a-generation moment, organic, unprecedented, and nearly impossible to replicate in women's basketball. She won 2 National Player of the Year awards, led the NCAA in both scoring and assists 3 times, and even had her number 22 jersey retired, a rarity in the sport. That's why Newton's comparison feels a bit forced. For Juju Watkins to truly surpass Clark's legacy, she'd likely need a national championship, which is ultimately a team effort. That said, Watkins isn't exactly flying under the radar. With a Nike deal and a rising docuseries, her star power is growing fast. On the court, her play is generating plenty of buzz. Meanwhile, Clark, who became a household name at Iowa, made history as the NCAA's all-time leading scorer before being drafted by the Indiana Fever. In just her rookie WNBA season, she captured Rookie of the Year honors and quickly became one of the faces of the league, thanks to her deep shooting range and elite playmaking skills.